Hey Kaika, everybody. Bonjour à tous. To support adaptation strategies in the context of climate change, we need to understand the drivers of forest dynamics, and particularly for boreal forests, given their spatial extent across the globe. In our research, we aim to understand how burn rates varied since the early 1700s in North American boreal forests. For this, we used dendrochronological records from 16 fire history study sites distributed across North American boreal forests and investigated variation in burn rates for the historical period spanning from 1700 to 1990. These historical burn rates were benchmarked against recent burn rates estimated for the modern period using satellite-derived data spanning from 1980 to 2020. Right here. We found that burn rates during the historical period for most sites showed a declining trend, particularly during the early to mid 1900s. And given the synchronicity of the declining trend across sites, we interpreted that large spatial patterns of atmospheric conditions predominantly drove lesser burn rates in addition to regional changes in land use, like fire exclusion and suppression. Supporting our interpretation, we found that the declining trend in burn rates over the last centuries aligned with similar conclusions reached from the analysis of sediment-inferred biomass burning in other North American boreal forests. So these were from lacustrine records. Compared to the historical period, the modern period showed less variable and lower burn rates across sites. Moreover, mean burn rates during the modern period presented diverging trends across among the eastern versus the northwestern sites, with increasing trends in mean burn rates in most northwestern sites. The low mean burn rates over the modern period for most sites in Quebec and Eastern Ontario were consistent with high summer moisture that limited wildfire risk during the 20th and early 21st centuries in Eastern Canada. Empirical data and modeling notably highlighted the limitation on ignition imposed by the regionally wet and cool climate, although mild increases in fire activity were also reported in the latter half of the 20th century with drier climate. In comparison, most of the sites in northwestern North America revealed increasing trends in mean burn rates over the modern period, corroborating findings of increasing area burned and number of large fires in Western Canada over the last half century. Similar findings are also reported in Alaska, with the 2000s showing greater burned area than the preceding 6 decades. These increases in burned area were attributed to significantly warmer and drier climate over the latter half of the 20th and early 21st centuries in Western Canada and Alaska. As warmer and possibly drier climate may well override the capacity to suppress fire, it remains uncertain if the observed decrease of burn rates in Eastern Canadian boreal forests will continue in the future. So I would like to thank very much all of the regional, national, and international collaborators, and this research is acceptable following minor revisions. So thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. We have time for one question. Thanks a lot, Raphaël, for this presentation.
You're welcome. Kiitos for your attention, everybody. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so it looks like the talk was perfect, no questions. So our next speaker is